Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about arpeggios, and more specifically this nifty strategy for finding the right fingering for an arpeggio. There really is an infinite number of arpeggios you can play. Even with chord qualities alone, you have major, minor, dominant, minor 7 flat 5, half diminished, Lydian, altered, augmented, diminished. You have seventh chords, sus chords, altered chords. You can really arpeggiate any group of notes. You can even have arpeggios greater than an octave, something you might see in Chopin. So with all the arpeggio possibilities, things can get a little overwhelming. How do you know which fingering to use? How do you narrow down your options? It's actually very simple. I just take an arpeggio and I try it in different inversions and see which one feels best to me. Once I find an inversion I like, I'll work backwards until I get to the root of the arpeggio and then just put it all together. So let's try this with C major 7. So in this case, I personally like root position the best. So I'll just use that fingering. Okay, let's try another chord. Okay, so I think I'm in between first inversion and third inversion. So I'll try practicing the two back to back and see which one I like better. Okay, so it's a bit of a toss-up, but I'm kind of leaning towards first inversion. So once you find an inversion you like, you want to work backwards from there to get to the root. The inversion will kind of guide your fingering. So in this case, for the first inversion, I'm just using the fingering 1, 2, 3, 4. So all I have to do now is just work my way up to the third. There's only one note before the third, the root, so I'll just play that, in this case with the 2 finger. And then I'll play the rest of the arpeggio. Okay, let's try another chord. G flat major 7. So I kind of like the feel of third inversion. So now I'll work my way backwards from there. And now we'll play the rest of the arpeggio. Let's try a few more. So this is just a little strategy for finding the fingerings for the arpeggios. In order to find the actual motion needed to play the arpeggio itself, you'll need to practice the horizontal aspect of the arpeggio. If you haven't already, definitely check out my piano technique in 2 dimensions video by clicking right here. The bottom line is you want to make sure you keep that arm moving throughout. Rather than jumping octaves, think of gradually sliding through them. You may have to isolate the crossover. If you want to be super thorough about practicing your arpeggios, you might consider creating a grid like this. The y-axis has all the different types of arpeggios, and the x-axis has all the keys. You can use this chart to log your maximum tempo. When the grid starts to fill up, you can clearly see which arpeggios need work. This way you can track your progress. Now, whether or not you want to be this neurotic about practicing your arps is up to you. But personally, I feel that it's an incredibly valuable practice for many reasons. One is that these arpeggios get your hands used to different shapes on the piano. Some shapes are a little more square, whereas some are more oblong. The repetitive nature of these arpeggios, repeating the same shape over several octaves, really helps to drill in these shapes. Your fingers will get used to stretching different lengths, having some fingers on the black keys, some on the white keys. Arpeggiation is incredibly useful in jazz and improvisation, as it is the most direct way of conveying harmony, playing chord changes. Incorporating arpeggiated ideas into your lines will help bring more harmonic clarity, as well as give the melodic line a more interesting shape, breaking up scalar and more stepwise motion with leaps of thirds or fourths or whatever. Another reason for working on these is that arpeggios really work on crossovers. In fact, most of them focus on the toughest crossover, which is between the thumb and the pinky. At the end of the day, I just think that practicing arpeggios, like practicing any other fundamental sort of thing, will just give you more familiarity with the instrument. No matter which instrument you play, it's just another tool that will help get you closer to being able to play whatever you want, whenever you want. So that's all for now. Please like and subscribe, stay tuned for more videos, and as always, happy practicing.